You're listening to PhinManiacs Xtra, strictly Finn's talk, hosted by the king of hot takes himself, Ron Caniff.
All right, what's going on, Miami Dolphins fans? Another episode of PhinManiacs Extra. I'm your host, Ron Caniff, of course, and with me, as usual, per usual, is Lewis Sung from PhinManiacs. What's going on?
I'm doing all right, but hey, man, if you don't want me on anymore, I mean, there are other people.
Are you saying
Like,
you don't want to be on every time?
No, it sounds like per usual Lewis Sung. It's like, because it's like maybe you. I don't know. It doesn't sound like you seem so excited to have me anymore. Are we not friends, my brother?
I'm very excited to have you. You're just who I usually have because I do such a poor job of pre-planning this and just say, hey, let's do a show, man. Be on in 5 minutes. So, and
all right.
And normally the go-to for something like that is going to be you.
I
mean, forget Chad on something like that. Chad, I gotta make an appointment. I gotta get with his secretary. It's gotta be pre-planned like 3 weeks in advance. I've got this like 45-minute block of time split up to 3 different ways. So that makes it a lot harder. Hey, I gotta get Danny on here now that he's part of the PhinManiacs team. I don't know that I've heard him do any podcasts. I don't know if he's really into doing stuff like that.
No, I can ask him. I'm sure he'd at least consider it. And I know that Brandon Ligori would love to join us every once in a while. We'll see about that too. So I mean, we got people. We just gotta pull them in here. That's all.
All right. Cool.
But today is a day where I want to explode. So let's go ahead and do that.
All right. See,
this show is mine.
All right. Well, I'm not one that wants to explode over what's happened over the cuts and the add-ons and the whole weird stuff. I think there's a reason for what's going on, although I don't necessarily know what that reason is. I don't think they're crazy. Let's just get started with it. So obviously we've recently cut down to the 53 as of, was it Saturday at 4? Correct?
Yeah, Saturday they had to be out and about by 4 p.m. All the players had to be gone.
Yep. So then we knew what the initial 53-man roster looked like, which actually I think they had cut down to 52, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, technically speaking. And then, of course, with Hull and Brendel on IR, that technically made it so that they had more room. So
yeah. Let's start with the first one that I won't say surprised me. So when I wrote the 53-man article, Friday? So it was that article was good for about 10, 12 hours of actually being a valid article, but that's fine. You know, it takes no time to write an article that large. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding. But Lippett is one that I put on there as making the 53, but probably the first gone after they made claims. That's what I had him. So when I saw him not make the 53 initially, I wasn't surprised. What about you?
No, it was a surprise for me simply because I thought they'd keep him around until they could make a claim. Because and by the way, the thing that really confuses me even more is that they're not even all the claims they made, none of which was a cornerback. There's no new face in the secondary. In fact, they keep getting rid of faces in the secondary. So all I'm thinking of right now is that there better not be any injuries come Sunday, because otherwise we're going to be like super thin in the secondary. There's got to be a reason for why they decided to remove Lippett right off the bat. Coach Gates basically mentioned that it was because of the performance that Lippett had in training camp, which is fine. It's not like Lippett was blowing anybody away. In fact, Lippett looked, like somebody who hadn't come back from his Achilles injury. But just for the sake of numbers, I would think that you would want to have at least another body in there. And unless you found somebody else, that's why I thought your theory was going to work just fine, is that as soon as they decided that they were going to make a claim, you can cut Lippett and be done with it. But they just decided to move on from him right off the bat. And that's the part that surprised me. I didn't think Lippett was going to stay. I just didn't think Lippett was going to go that quickly.
Well, the one that I guess surprised me more than Lippett being cut, which again wasn't a surprise, is the fact that Armstrong, he was the stay, the guy that made it over Lippett and over Jalen Davis. Out of those 3, I would have guessed him as the third to be the one on the squad. So I think that's where the difference was.
Yeah, I almost forgot about him, and that's kind of the sad part is that I almost forgot about Cornell Armstrong. Like, I understand the whole "oh, I want to be like Brent Grimes" statement that he basically said. That's who he models his game after, which would be terrific if he ended up becoming another Brent Grimes. That would be fantastic, as long as the extracurriculars don't follow him. But right now, he's not anywhere close to that level. And that's why I was thinking that, well, maybe, just maybe, they would look to bring in another corner in case something happens. Because heaven forbid something happens to Bobby McCain or Xavier Howard, and now you have Cordray Tankersley, who also struggled, and he's the only other guy in the boundary who can call on, besides now Armstrong. So
okay, so here's something I'm thinking about, and this has nothing to do necessarily with the cuts, but so I don't want to go on about it too long. This time last year, tell me what you felt about Xavier Howard, right, compared to what you feel about Tankersley right now at this time. To me, it was about the same feeling. We didn't trust him. We weren't sure how good he was going to be. He seemed inconsistent. It's the same exact thing. I mean, let's give this dude another season. And luckily, unless injury happens, he gets to have another season and kind of feel his way through without being just thrown out on the boundary. So I'm not freaking out over Tankersley yet.
Oh, no. Don't get me wrong. I'm not freaking either. Tankersley needs to develop. I understand that. I'm not saying to get rid of him or anything like that. I'm just saying that I would not feel comfortable throwing him out there if something happens. Because you know how it is with these Dolphins. Usually push comes to shove. Something happens that forces a player to go in there, and he doesn't perform up to snuff. He gets thrown into the fire, and he gets some third-degree burns before he winds up coming out stronger. But I want to avoid the burns part, because when you get burned, your team generally loses, and we can't afford to do that this year.
Well, I think that also you could see them throw out McTire maybe even before they throw out Tank. I mean, they have options. They have Tank, they have McTire, but that's part of why I thought Lippett would at least make the initial wave, and if they found other talent at cornerback that they claimed, then maybe he goes, is because simply he had starter experience that some of these guys just don't have. But hey, we're going to see how it works out. I'm happy with the three that they have in McCain, Howard, and Minkah Fitzpatrick at the nickel. Now that they've claimed him like he is the nickel back, I think that's a great three. I'm excited about that three. It's the best three cornerbacks that we've had on this team, and since I can remember when, I don't know. What about you? I mean, you agree with that?
I can agree that the starting three guys are a solid unit. It's the depth that I'm worried about, Ron. Again, I like Torrey McTire a lot. Believe me, I do. McTire can definitely have a lot of impact, and he can make plays. If anything, I think he should get the call up instead of Tankersley if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, it might go that way.
But this is why I get so itchy about this, is because how many years in the past several seasons have we found ourselves in a situation where we have to pick up some corner off the street because it seems like everybody has gone down all at once? It's happened too many times.
Well, I mean, but any team, if 3 or 4 of their cornerbacks goes down, is going to be in that situation. Show me a team.
It's always Miami.
But show me a team that the fourth cornerback on the squad is like, oh, that dude could go in and start, and I'd feel comfortable. I don't know that there is a team that exists. How many teams go 4 cornerbacks deep versus you have that fourth cornerback where you think he has some talent, but you're just not quite sure. Maybe he's a little inexperienced. Maybe he's just kind of up and down. I mean, he's just had 1 rookie season. That's it. We don't know a lot about McTire yet. So the last thing we'd want to do, though, if one of the boundaries came down, is to throw Minkah Fitzpatrick to the boundary. He is simply not a boundary cornerback. He's a safety. He's a nickel cornerback. That's what he did in college. That's what he'll continue to do as a pro. And I don't think they'll make that move.
No, they will not put Minkah Fitzpatrick on the boundary. No. And for all the people who say that, oh, he can do it. You know what? Maybe he can. He did spend a little bit of time there in Alabama.
4%.
At Alabama, 4% of his snaps.
And that 4% wasn't his best work.
No, it wasn't. He is a nickel cornerback. He's a free safety. He's somebody who can roam around and make plays. He's not somebody you want shadowing somebody if you can help it. He's a playmaker through and through. He is not somebody who just kind of follows people around. I don't think that's not. Everybody has weaknesses in their game, including Minkah Fitzpatrick. He's probably the most solid, the most NFL ready first round draft pick Miami has drafted in over a decade. But he is still somebody who has a weak spot, and the boundary is it. I don't want him to be shadowing somebody's number one wide receiver. I just don't. He needs to be in a position where he can excel. That's what people were so upset about when it was Laramie Tunsil all those years ago. Don't put him to guard. He's not built to be a guard. No, he wasn't built to be a guard. He was always a left tackle, and now we're worried about, did we stunt his growth by doing that? So why would you throw Minkah Fitzpatrick to be the boundary corner? Isn't that the same argument?
Yeah, it is. And I don't think a lot of people are calling for that. I don't think that's something they'll do. So, all right, man, let's get into these next players. They cut Sam Young. Now, since then, they've brought him back. I'm not sure what that whole thing was about.
I think he was cut for what?
A day?
6 hours? Not even. Felt like he was gone for 6 hours.
Not very long. So they cut him. They brought him back. Done and done. They had gone down to what seemed like 5 receivers for a minute. They cut Ford and Carew and Owusu. But then they went and picked up Tanner McAvoy. And he's a big boy, 6'6", 230 pounds. I personally think between Ford, McAvoy, right now they're trying to see what can we find that's inexpensive that we could replace Parker with, that kind of presence, that kind of in-zone threat, red zone threat, if you will. I think they're kind of looking for that cheap. Maybe not even for this year because they still have Parker, but they're not going to likely keep Parker next year, not at $9 million. He'd have to just ball out beyond belief to keep him. It's not realistic. Therefore, I think they're kind of seeing, can we find that option this year between these guys, Ford and McAvoy, without having to either spend a first-round pick on them or go spend huge free agency money next year? That's my personal opinion on what they're trying to do right now. I thought that with Ford as well. I'm going to continue to believe that until I see something different.
Do you know who I started to like as the preseason went on?
Who? Owusu.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you know how tall Owusu is?
I have no idea, actually.
He's 6'3".
Yeah, he's a big boy.
That's Devontae Parker's size. And I think Owusu even has more weight, and he's actually faster than Devontae Parker. So as a physical specimen, Owusu is actually superior. And unlike Parker, Owusu produced in the opportunities that he was given. So I told you I was going to get upset. Because Owusu, if anybody was deserving of a roster spot, at least on the practice squad, if nothing else, it was Francis Owusu. And as far as I know, nobody's picked up Owusu, and I cannot for the life of me figure out. I don't think he's been picked up. So for the life of me, I cannot figure out why on God's green earth they would give Leonte Carew, who I didn't even know was practice squad eligible, they brought him back again. How many times do we have to go through this? They are determined to make it look like that their trade up for Carew was not a bad idea. Owusu was more deserving of that spot than Carew ever was. And even Gase was getting fed up with it. Why would they bring him back? I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm not going to claim to take a guess anymore. Obviously, they're not going to keep 7 wide receivers. But I don't know why they brought Carew back on the practice squad. I'm not sure. I guess they just haven't really given up on him yet. But I mean, the guy's been here 3 years, and he can't be the 6th wide receiver. I agree. I mean, he can't even be the 6th wide receiver on your team, and he's been here for 3 years. You invested a lot of capital in him at this point. I'd rather see that spot go to Owusu as well. And it's still not too late for that to happen, although I doubt it will be with Ford and Carew sitting there on the practice squad. It's probably where they'll sit. I'm more interested to see what they're going to do with Tanner McAvoy. Like, how quickly can they get him into the fold? We don't know that Parker's going to start week 1. Without Parker there, week 1, it's a whole bunch of Albert Wilson, because if we have a base 3 wide, Albert Wilson's going to be there if there's no Parker. Then when we're going 2 tight end set, you're going to have Jakeem Grant, assuming he's healthy, and Albert Wilson. So it's just going to be interesting to see, do they try and get Tanner McAvoy thrown into this thing, or is he really just play some special teams, be the 6th wide receiver? You're only going to get out there if the crap goes down. I'm not really sure. And at this point, there's not a lot of time for him to even get to the playbook. So I have a feeling we're going to see a whole lot of Albert Wilson in week 1 against Tennessee.
Parker and Grant were both practicing last we checked. Parker, of course, had a little cast on, which makes it even more difficult for him to catch a football. Not that he was already having issues or anything, but whatever, that's fine. Grant, I'm sure he'll be playing. I'm sure that by now he's off the concussion protocol, which I don't mind. I want Grant out there. But if this is what I would do if I were Adam Gase and Dowell Loggins. What I would do is I would just send out Mr. McAvoy and send out Gesicki and send out Smythe. That's three guys who are two of them are 6'6" and the last one is 6'5". That's what if I ever got to the red zone, all I would do is I would have all three of those guys stand out there in a trips bunch on the boundary, and I would tell them, go run into the end zone and play jump ball and score a touchdown that way. Whoever catches it gets a free steak dinner.
Yeah, but I don't think it really works that way. Or if it was that easy, everybody would just stack their team with a bunch of 6'5", 6'6" Justin Hunters, and all those guys would have success. So it's a lot more involved.
It's not Madden. You can't just be the biggest guy out there and leap up. I know. It's all wishful thinking. But what else can you do with a guy who literally just walked in the room last week? He's not going to have the offense down. I don't even know if he's going to be able to know how to run a Adam Gase slant. It took Kenny Stills and those guys, mind you, they weren't studying much, but even then, it took Kenny Stills and those guys. This is the third year that they've been in Gase's offense, and just now they're starting to understand what's going on. How is McAvoy going to catch up in 1 week? You have to be able to do something to make him relevant, and considering how big he is, that's what I would do. I would just do a jump ball for him.
Yeah, well, I guess we're gonna find out, man. We're gonna find out if he actually gets into the fray or not, or if it's just really gonna be those four guys if Parker can't go, or maybe Parker can get in there. I mean, I think next Wednesday leading into the game, I should say, is when they have to release their injury report, and we'll start to get a better clue as to who is actually questionable and who's good to go for the game.
Can you do me a favor, Ron? I want you to pull up Devontae Parker's stats real quick. Can you do that for me?
I can do that for you, sir.
All right. So this is where I'm going with this. Even if Parker is good to go, I don't feel like that's something that makes me have the warm fuzzies inside, because you know this. Devontae Parker constantly being injured. He has questions about how much effort he puts into every single play. I tweeted out that somebody in the organization told me that the only reason Parker looks like he's not trying is because of how fluid and how long his legs are and stuff like that. Which I don't know. Maybe that's a valid argument. But you know what? It still looks like he's not trying. Regardless of whether it's true or not, he looks like he's not trying. And half of the time, the fact that he's always hurt, the fact that he can't seem to get separation most of the time, the fact that he seems to be double covered, maybe that's all he's there to do is to be a distraction. But if that's all he's there to be a distraction, I don't want to pay him big time money to be a distraction. Do you have his stats up there, Ron?
Yeah, Parker, I do. I have his stats, brother.
All right. Somebody was pointing this out to me, is that Parker has not produced like a number one wide receiver.
No.
And I tweeted out a couple days ago about how the Ravens went ahead and dumped Brashad Perryman. He was their former first-round draft pick. And I'm thinking to myself, and I tweeted out basically, why does Parker get a pass while Perryman gets the boot already? Aren't they pretty much similar players? But people were telling me is that Parker apparently has 4 times the amount of production that Mr. Perryman has. So can you just rattle off what Devontae Parker's done since he got here?
Total, he's got 1,900 yards and 8 total touchdowns in 3 seasons.
Okay, so almost 2,000 yards in 3 seasons. Honestly, that's actually pretty impressive, considering he doesn't spend a whole lot of time on the football field. So I suppose that as a number 2 wide receiver, he's okay. He's somebody that I don't rely on him, Ron. That's the thing that bugs me, is that you don't want your number 2 wide receiver to be iffy. He doesn't have to be a superstar, but you don't want to have to give him the side-eye look and wonder, okay, is he going to catch this ball, or is he going to let the other guy get past him again? Or is he going to just halfway a route or something like that? That's not something I want in a number 2 wide receiver. And that's why I feel more comfortable with the idea of Albert Wilson or Jakeem Grant out there more than Devontae Parker. Size helps, but it's not needed. If size were so important, then Jakeem Grant would not be in the NFL, period. The dude is not 5'6", 5'7". If size mattered as much as I think it does, then he wouldn't be around. Parker, he's 6'3", he's got the size, but he's not reliable. I cannot rely on him. And every time he goes out there, I think to myself, okay, if they throw it to Parker, is he actually going to catch the ball or is he just going to let it go? And I don't want to have that thought process in my head. When they throw it to Albert Wilson, I know he's going to catch the ball. Or at the very least, if he does drop it, it's like, okay, he dropped this one. When it comes to Parker, it's like, oh, he dropped it again. That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even really think about Parker anymore. I don't figure him in the equation, even if he's available. He doesn't factor to me in the offense very much. I definitely don't see him on this team past this season. I could almost bet that 100% unless he just went crazy this year. I just don't even think about him anymore. I don't consider him as part of it anymore. I really don't. Is there use for him if he's on the field and playing well? Well, of course there's use for him if he is. I just don't ever factor that's going to be a thing. Either he's going to be injured or he's just not going to be able to get open or he's not going to come down with the catch. Or he's going to forget to eat breakfast that morning. I don't know, and I'll be honest with you, it just doesn't matter to me anymore. I just moved on from him mentally. I'm done waiting for him to blow up. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But
he's never going to be the X factor we were hoping.
No, he's never going to be there. All right, man, we're going to move on. Let's go on to Travis Swanson. We picked him up as a free agent center. I didn't really agree with it, but I'll let you go first.
No, I don't mind the Swanson move. Really, I don't, because I knew we needed a backup center. I know you like Ted Larson more.
He's a great center. Backup center. It's his natural position, but that's why I think they should have gone out and gotten guard help.
I don't think that. I mean, Larson is looked at as an emergency center, not as the main center. I think first of all, Kilgore definitely, I would say, is better as center than Ted Larson is, and I don't after watching Ted Larson at guard last season, I don't necessarily want Larson to be like the first backup at the center position. If there's a guy who's out there that is actually built to be a center, was trained as a center, and is actually a decent center, then I'll pick him. Travis Swanson's issue was supposedly that he's injured a lot. But if he's coming in to be the backup, then with any luck, Swanson won't be playing much at all anyway. So I can live with that whole injury risk thing. He's not somebody who's going to be out there a lot. He's only there if something, heaven forbid, happens to Kilgore, which, considering he's been solid as a rock pretty much his whole career, I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, I'm pretty much what you're saying. I think Ted Larson's a much better center than people give him credit for. I was fine with him as the backup center and getting more guard help. That's the way I saw it. Obviously, the Dolphins see it differently. I'm a Twitter GM, not a real GM. I'll stick with what they think. We're going to see how that plays out. I'm a little concerned about the guard depth. We have very, very few true guards on this team. That's just the truth. We have a lot of players that can play a lot of different positions. I'm not sure how much I like that. Maybe that's great. Maybe that isn't. But, we just have a lot of guys that can play a lot of different positions.
Yeah, we have a lot of quarterbacks who can also – we have a lot of players who can play quarterback if necessary. The Dolphins have like 6 guys who can play quarterback now on the roster. And I'm sure we're going to get into that in a minute, but I'll go ahead and wait until that discussion comes up. So I'll let it slide for the moment. It's okay.
All right. So then let's just get right to it. So as of right now, the Dolphins are carrying 4 quarterbacks. They've still got Osweiler, which I think most of us thought was going to end up towards the end. I thought anyway. At the beginning of camp, I definitely didn't think it, but towards the end of camp, it started to become more evident, I should say, that Osweiler was going to get the backup position. Then it was a question: is they going to keep Fales or are they going to cut Fales? So not only did they not keep Fales, they went and picked up Luke Falk too. Which, why do I feel like he's been on this team before, or was he with the Bears with Gase? Like,
no.
Is there some kind of Luke Falk Gase connection? I mean, I would imagine if there was, Twitter would have been going crazy about it, and I would have known. Okay.
No, Falk is one of the rookies who was when was he drafted? I can't remember. Was it the 4th round? No, that's what he was projected as. No, Falk was drafted this year by Tennessee to be a developmental quarterback, and apparently he didn't develop as fast as they wanted him to, so they waived him, and Miami decided to go ahead and pick them up.
So wait a minute. So instead of drafting a mid-round quarterback, we were able to spend that draft pick, say a 4th-round pick, on Balaj and Smythe, and we got Luke Falk anyway.
Yeah, so but the fact that they waived him in the first place kind of makes you raise an eyebrow. It's like, and I had said this ever since the draft ended. Remember all the hype that these quarterbacks were getting. It's like, oh, this one's worth a mid-round, third round, fourth round pick. This one's worth a fifth round pick. Mason Rudolph, remember Mason Rudolph? He was projected as one of the several quarterbacks worth a second rounder. He didn't go until the third round to Pittsburgh. There was no quarterback selected in the second round. None. And after that, it was like, okay, so another round goes by, and another round goes by, and another round goes by, and only now are we just getting to the quarterbacks, which tells me that the draft gurus and all that, who we watch on TV, Daniel Jeremiah and Mike Mayock, those guys, they had the quarterbacks ranked a lot higher than the GMs of the teams, and that is something that makes me wonder, because if it was just Miami skipping out on these quarterbacks, then I'd be like, okay, fine, that's just more of Miami not evaluating very well, whatever, that's fine, I'll get over it. But every team decided that none of these quarterbacks were worth even taking a sniff at.
Yeah. So when did the Titans draft Luke Falk?
Let me look it up real quick. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, because
while you're saying that, okay, so it's obvious that the Titans took a calculated risk and they gambled and they lost. So they only wanted to carry 2 quarterbacks because they obviously wanted to carry other positions. They're not like Miami; they didn't want to carry 4 quarterbacks. Haha.
No.
So they've got Marcus Mariota and Blaine Gabbert. Go ahead. When was he drafted? Okay,
so Falk was drafted in the 6th round with the 25th pick of that round.
Okay.
So we were reaching the 7th round as we spoke, and only then was Luke Falk picked up.
Okay, so they took a shot. They didn't want to carry 3 quarterbacks. They very likely wanted to put Luke Falk on their practice squad, I would imagine, and try and develop him. That's what I'm thinking. And he got snagged. I'm assuming this is what happened. Why we didn't go ahead and cut a quarterback beyond that, I don't know. It sounded like you might maybe had a slight theory on that. I'm going to let you go ahead.
Yeah, my only theory on this is that they're keeping all 3 guys in case, because this is the mentality that I'm having. I was going to write something about it, but then I thought, this isn't really much of a writing story. This is something I'd rather be tell verbally. This is my theory, and it's that when teams realize that you're going to cut a player and they know ahead of time that you're going to cut this person, if you try to get a trade offer for them, you're not going to get anything, because they're going to call you and say, why are we going to give you something? You're going to cut this guy in 10 minutes anyway. Click. That's the mentality that I'm having. By keeping both Osweiler and Fales, because remember, Osweiler, despite his issues, did have a very good final preseason game. He looked the best we've ever seen him in a Miami uniform. In fact, he looked like the guy that wound up getting a massive contract from the Houston Texans the very next year. Now, of course, we all know how that turned out, but the fact is he looked like that player. So the mentality that I'm having is, by basically saying, no, we're keeping both Osweiler and Fales, we're trying to say that we want to keep these guys as our backups because they're good players and we love them, and we're not going to cut them, all you other teams out there who might be looking to get a free lunch. So my mentality is that by keeping both Osweiler and Fales, you leave the door open for a team to call up the Dolphins and say, okay, fine, you're going to keep him and you're not going to cut him. What can we offer you a 7th rounder to take Osweiler off your hands? And if that's the case, I'm all for it. But you can't trade somebody who's already cut. And David Fales, I know for a fact, has no trade value whatsoever. Cutting him wouldn't have meant anything. He would still be out there on the open market today if we wound up cutting him. Nobody's going to go and run over themselves to go and get David Fales. Osweiler, on the other hand, has a reputation. He looked good in the 4th preseason game. There are teams out there who are probably going to keep looking for upgrades at the backup spot. So by keeping Osweiler, you basically make it, if you want him, you're going to have to give us something for it. If you gave the indication that he could be cut any minute, then teams aren't going to call for anything. I guess that's what they're doing, is they're playing the waiting game to see if maybe somebody will trade something, because the Saints gave up a 3rd-round pick for Teddy Bridgewater. And I'm not saying that Osweiler's anywhere close to Bridgewater, because
he's not.
No, he's not. But I mean, if you can get something for Osweiler, then by all means, we one superstar performance from Jordan Lucas, the safety, on the last game, and the Kansas City Chiefs called up and said, "We'll give you a 7th rounder for him." Mind you, they were looking for trade value. Apparently there are reports out that they were looking for trade offers for Maurice Smith. They wound up getting offers for Lucas instead, and they traded him instead. So I guess that's the mentality, is that keeping both guys indicates to other teams that if you want Osweiler, you're going to have to give us like a 6th or a 7th or a something. And if they can get anything for Osweiler, I would call Tannenbaum and Greer geniuses for the move. But for now,
let's get down to the reality of, or what will probably happen. Nobody calls and makes that trade. So what are the Dolphins going to do with quarterback? Because they ain't keeping 4.
I'm guessing Luke Falk is going to have to go through waivers again and try to make it to the practice squad. But like you said, if it's true that if the Titans wanted Falk on theirs, that would mean that as soon as he hit the waiver wire, Titans are going to call up and say, "You're on our practice squad like we wanted in the first place." So if anything, either he's going to make it to the team and fails or he's either going to make it on the team and fails, gets cut, or this is a data dump situation. Thank you for your information. Please leave. Which I hope that's not the case, because I would rather have Falk developing than David fails.
That's an interesting thought. I forgot about the whole data dump thing.
Oh, yeah. By the way.
That didn't even occur to me, because we always see Patriots pick up our dead weight and whatnot, and we think, oh, yeah.
They didn't pick up any Dolphin scraps this year.
No, they didn't.
But you know what? You know who the Titans are working out pretty soon?
Who?
Drew Morgan.
Okay, well, they can have him. He's not very good.
No, it's not about that, though. Neither is Luke Falk. It's a data dump. It's like one good turn deserves another.
Well, I'm thinking that beyond the data dump, obviously Luke Falk must have been a guy on the radar of the Dolphins team as they were going through the draft, and just whatever happened, the board didn't work out. They didn't end up taking him.
Oh yeah, no. They worked them out a few times. I guess they figured, okay, this draft board is not going very well. So, I mean, again, quarterbacks fell down way below where their projected rounds were supposed to be. Falk was supposed to be a 4th round prospect, and he almost made it to the 7th. And that went for a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. So, I guess we came to the realization that, you know what, one of these quarterbacks that we worked out is going to shake loose after waivers, and who knows, maybe that was their mentality. I hesitate to give them that much credit of foresight, but for the sake of this discussion, I will go ahead and do so.
Okay, so then one more thought on the roster before we move on to talking about the Titans game. They did not pick up linebackers.
No linebacker.
That was really a position I thought that we'd see them pick up. All
I'm going to say is that they better be doing a lot of nickel and dime packages if that's the case, because here we go again. Kiko Alonso. They love Kiko, but Kiko should not be covering tight ends.
No.
He should not. Kiko is the only linebacker on the roster right now who can effectively shed blocks, but that's what he should be doing then. He should not be trying to chase around running backs. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I'm still concerned with this linebacker spot. I really feel like they need to go out next year and spend serious capital on this. Be a combination of a couple draft picks, including a really high draft pick, and or a free agent, a good free agent, which we've whiffed on every time since we brought in Burnett and... No, we didn't whiff. You know why? Listen. I'm probably going to go down to my grave saying this. And people hammered me after I tweeted this, but I'm sticking by it because doggone it, it's the truth. For all the crap we give Lawrence Timmons and how he wore down at the end of the year, he helped the run defense immensely. He was in the backfield consistently, stopping running backs. He was shedding blocks. He was a very effective run-stopping linebacker. And he was, for a time, it looked like he was the best linebacker Miami had, Kiko Alonso notwithstanding. He got tired at the end, and there was the whole drama at the beginning of the year. I get that. That it goes a lot into why his quote-unquote Dolphins legacy is so tarnished. But Lawrence Timmons was a good linebacker pickup. We just overused him, and that's why things fell apart at the end. Well, regardless of what Timmons did, they need to they need to definitely invest a lot of capital, draft and a free agent. I think they really need to do both. I think they need to get a good free agent at linebacker and draft a couple guys. One of those guys being a 1st or 2nd round pick, and then maybe somebody even a little lower.
Here's the question though. What is it that you want this linebacker to do? Because if you want a run stopper, I'm going out and I'm signing Timmons again.
They just simply need more athleticism at the position. They need.
But you want speed.
They need athleticism. They need guys that can get side to side and tackle. They need guys that can keep up with McCaffrey coming out of the backfield, whether he's running or catching. I don't know.
McDonald, next question.
I don't know. He's a safety. They need linebackers that can do it.
He's bigger than Jerome Baker.
It doesn't matter how big he is. He is a freaking safety. They need linebackers that can do it. A period in the story. Dude, it was the same story in that preseason game against McCaffrey as it was last season in the regular game. He had Kiko's lunch every single time, and they got Kiko playing 96% of the snaps. That's a problem. Kiko needs to be replaced, number one. Period in the story. He needs to be replaced. He's not good. They need to stop leaving him out on the field. Our defense is never going to be as good as it could be as long as Kiko stays on the field 96% of the time. Just simple as that.
But why you say that TJ McDonald is a safety, and yes, by definition of the roster, that's exactly what he is. But why can't he play linebacker? Give me a reason why he can't, other than he's a safety.
Because he's a safety.
Besides that,
why can't Ryan Tannehill play wide receiver? Because he's a quarterback. He's not supposed to play wide receiver.
But those are two different positions. Linebackers and safeties almost do the same thing in today's NFL.
You need to go replace Kiko. So if you're gonna take Kiko off the field and put TJ McDonald there as the linebacker, now who's going to be the other safety? Because Minka's the nickel cornerback now. So who's the other safety? Because you still need another safety.
TJ McDonald as the nickel linebacker, and you make him play in the box and do whatever, or chase around whoever you need to chase around, which he can because he's a faster guy and a bigger guy, and he's a better. I think his body's better built for linebacker than Jerome Baker's even is. But I digress. You put McDonald as the nickel linebacker. You put Bobby McCain back in his nickel cornerback position because that's where he's best at anyway. And you have Xavier Howard on one side, you have Torrey McTyer on the other, and you have Minka and Rashad in the backfield doing their safety thing. Boom. End of discussion. We fixed the run defense. TJ McDonald in the box, everything's hunky-dory.
But then Torrey McTyer is a big question mark. And maybe he comes up and he just makes it happen, but then Torrey McTyer is a big question mark.
Who's a bigger question mark? Torrey McTyer at the cornerback position or keeping Kiko on the field?
I'm scared to say that I don't have an answer to that right now, unfortunately. If I had an answer to that, then we'd know which way was better. But how about instead of taking a safety and making him a linebacker, we just go get a really good linebacker to replace Kiko? That would solve all the problems right there. And then we could still have the three best cornerbacks out on the field playing cornerback and not having to put one of them as a safety.
But that's next year. We're trying to compete now.
You know what? You know my philosophy on this team.
You've
seen me hashtag it 100 times, haven't you?
I understand that.
I'm a 2019 guy for the Miami Dolphins. I think we're average at best for 2018. Because of this kind of crap. We have too much stuff to work through that we're not going to work through in 2018. It's going to take till the end of 2018 to figure it out, and we need one more good draft and a couple more pickups, and 2019 will be our year. That's just how I feel about it. So I'm not worried I'm not worried about, we're trying to compete right now. I mean, I want to compete right now, of course, but I'm realistic. I think we're average this year. I mean, we're not worst team in the league like Bleacher Report thinks or ESPN. That's stupid. But no. I don't think we're a playoff team this year. I don't think we're there. I think there's just too many things.
We didn't think we were a playoff team in 2016 either.
Yeah, no doubt. And hey, they could surprise me, and trust me, I'll be the happiest guy in the world if they do surprise me. But it's a subject for another time. And we could talk about the linebackers all day. We need help at linebacker. I don't think Kiko's the answer. But let's
TJ McDonald. I'll go to my grave with this.
You can keep saying it, but he's a safety, and I think he needs to play safety. If we're having to, so we got to take our nickel cornerback, let's move him to the safety spot where he's better at nickel. Now let's take a safety and let's put him at linebacker. Now let's take a cornerback we don't know anything about and play him on the outside. And this is going to fix our defense? I don't feel like that.
I think it's going to make it a little better. I think it's going to, because right now we are primed and ready to be gashed up the middle over and over and over and over and over.
All that because Kiko sucks. That's you having to do all that because you didn't just go out and find a replacement for Kiko, and you're going to continue to put him on the field 96% of the time. Now, that's one of the answers could be that McMillan and Baker can play competent enough that you don't have to
McMillan's a
use
run
Kiko 96% of the time. When we go into the nickel defense, you have McMillan and Baker, and Kiko sits on the sideline. It could be our sideline, it could be the other team's sideline, but he's going to sit on the sideline.
He got. I'm not gonna hit him for that. He got dizzy. He got lost his mind, and then it's like, oh wait, I'm on the purple side. Let me go fix that.
Yeah, but you couldn't. I had to say it. Of course, I had to bring it up. But all I'm saying is, I would love a world where we see that 96% of being on the field, 96% of the time. I'd love a world where we get that down into the 60s somewhere. I'd be happy with that. It would get down even lower if Baker and McMillan are the linebackers when we go into the nickel, because we're going to be in the nickel defense more than half the time, because the NFL, these guys are lining up in a 3 wide more than half the time. So eventually I'd just like to see those snaps come down, and that would make me happy for 2018. I think that's how you solve the problem. Take linebackers, better linebackers to replace Kiko. We may have 2 better linebackers than Kiko on this team right now, but we don't know yet. Another thing in 2018 that it's going to take 2018 to figure out.
Right this second, Jerome Baker is probably better at covering than Kiko, no doubt. Just because on virtue of speed alone, Baker is faster than Kiko, and thus he would be better at covering than Kiko. I don't know if Raekwon is a better run stopper yet, because that is what Raekwon is. We've already seen it several times. Raekwon McMillan is almost as weak in coverage as Kiko is. He's not fast. He's not super athletic, at least not yet. Maybe he's hesitant, and that's why he looks slow. But that's something we're going to have to deal with. Right now, McMillan, even in college, he was never a pass coverage specialist. He was a run stuffer. And we basically got if we want to look at it for right this second, I'm saying right this second, he hasn't developed yet. But right this second, what we have is a young Lawrence Timmons. He should not be covering. He should be run defending. And if Jerome Baker is your only guy who can cover, then all you have to do is make sure that you have somebody who forces Raekwon McMillan to play coverage, and then you have the same situation again.
Yeah, but it's not even just about the coverage. It's about the running backs, the faster backs that come around the edge. Like, put it to you this way. If we had to face a guy like McCaffrey, or even, let's say, if we had to face ourselves, we had to face Kenyon Drake every game. Do you know
then
what
Baker's
he would
not
do?
Fast enough either.
Yeah. Do you know what he would do to Kiko Alonso? And dude, he doesn't. I'm not even talking about catching the ball in coverage. I'm talking about just coming around the edge. I can't take it anymore with Kiko. Yeah, I just can't. It's driving me nuts to watch the guy get that destroyed that many times in those kind of plays, and to stay on the field 96% of the time. It makes me question a lot of things. Is it Gase? Is it Burke? Is it just lack of anyone else they trust? I think that's what it is. They just don't trust anyone else, so they keep on putting out Kiko out there, but they didn't really go out to try and replace him, did they? I like Kiko better in the middle, but they want Raekwon in the middle. So I'm just not sure. I think he's better in the middle.
Because Raekwon was a middle linebacker.
I understand that, but Kiko's not good on the outside. It's my opinion.
Right.
He's just not good. I know we could argue about this for 2 hours straight, man.
Oh, but... no, I agree with you on that front. Kiko is better than suited in the middle. But the problem is, so is Raekwon. Raekwon's not going to be good in the outside either.
We don't really know that yet. He hasn't played. Hey, aren't you the one that had mentioned something about possibly McMillan could be a bust? The dude has not played. He's played, what is it Channing Crowder says? Nan. He's played Nan games, regular season games in the NFL. 0. So we don't really know what he's great at yet.
Ron, I'm kicking you out of the brain trust, brother. That was private. I did not say that he could be bust. I did not. That's a lie.
Okay. But anyway, I had to call you out on it because I tried to call you out in the brain trust. You ignored me.
Okay, look. The only reason I said it is because it seems like he's not getting it.
0.
Like
0 games.
I got it. But he's not fast, Ron. If he were speedier, then it would be easier to give him a break. But I was saying he's in pass cover.
It's not about his speed. It's about his reaction right now. And his reaction is slow because he's new and he's thinking and he's too much in his head. And it's going to take him at least half a season to a season to get really to see what we're going to know by the end of the season what he looks like. Again, another reason why I think 2018 is not going to necessarily be the year for Miami, but 2019 could be.
You could be the best reaction time linebacker in the NFL. If Kenyon Drake races you to the outside corner, Drake's still going to beat you because he's just faster than you.
Well, that's Kenyon Drake. I mean, what are you going to do? But his reaction time, McMillan's reaction time, he's a little confused on the plays. He's just not quite there. Kiko would obviously be able to understand everything better. He's going to be able to call the plays. I say just put... We know McMillan's faster than Kiko. Just put Kiko in the middle.
Not by much.
Where he did so much better in 2016. I don't understand their stubbornness on this. It's driving me crazy.
The only thing I will defend to the hilt right now is that Raekwon is. This is why I said that he could be potential bust, and this is the reason why. Let me explain my context, because apparently you missed this part. I did not say that Raekwon himself is a bust. I said he could potentially bust because of how the coaching staff used him. Remember, right for a while, it looked like Ryan Tannehill was going to bust because of Joe Philbin falling all over his face. So that's the concern that I have about Raekwon. It's not because Raekwon's not talented. It's because the coaches are putting him in a position where he's going to fail.
Well, we're going to find out. I mean, I don't think a lot of people have a lot of faith in Burke, but the defense seemed to play a little bit better than it played in 2016, even though we won more games. They have some pretty good talent on defense. Obviously, we're questioning defensive tackle a little bit. I'm questioning it less than a lot of other people are. I actually like Taylor. I like Godchow. And I think those guys, in my opinion, those guys should be the starters on week 1. I think we should put those guys in as starters. But, who knows? Who knows what we're going to do there? I love when we're in the nickel defense, those 5 guys. I think I'm excited about. I like McCain, Howard, Fitzpatrick, McDonald, and Jones. That might be the best 5 guys we've had back there that I can remember. It's been a long time since we had 5 guys with that much talent back there.
I want to be in the dime.
But, well, we're going to spend most of our time in the nickel defense. It's just where we're going to spend it. But, those linebackers, man, it's questionable. I'd feel better to see Baker and McMillan, and when we're in the nickel, to see Baker and McMillan. When they start doing that more, and they have enough faith in Baker to have him out there with McMillan and not Kiko, when we start,
think it's.
Well, we're going to see.
I don't think it's faith in Baker. I think it's faith in McMillan, because that would be the spot.
But they're not pulling McMillan out. They're not pulling him out either.
Then there's a bigger problem, because then if that's the case, then if faith in Baker comes up, then they'll pull McMillan and leave Kiko out there anyway.
Yeah,
that's what they'll do.
That'll make me angry. I'm just gonna say.
Then prepare your stress away. That's all.
People are getting tired of us arguing about linebackers. Let's kind of wrap this up with a quick little hit on the Titans game coming up. What's up, man? What do you want to talk about with that game? Anything besides the linebackers and how we match up against the running game, etc.
I don't even know who the running back is over there. Is it
Derrick Henry, bro? Derrick Henry, man, the guy that played in tandem with Kenyon Drake over at Alabama.
No, it's Derrick Henry and someone else. Who was it?
Well, it used to be Derrick Henry and DeMarco
Murray.
Yeah, Murray,
that's not
but
the case
he's gone.
Anymore.
No, so it's really going to be mostly Henry.
Okay, let me just look this up real quick, just to absolutely take care of this. Okay, let's see. Running back, Derrick Henry. Oh, Dion Lewis. Okay, yeah, that guy from New England who gashes us anytime he gets. Terrific.
Yeah, so that's the. Say we don't want to talk about it, but it's already coming up. That's not a great matchup for our linebacking core. That's for sure. But so let's not talk about. Let's
box it out. But that's fine. We're not going to talk about it anymore.
Let's talk about Mariota against Wake and Quinn. And then our secondary. Who do you think comes out on top there?
Wait, what?
So you got Wake and Quinn going all day. Now we've only seen bits and pieces of it. This little tidbits here and there, and we see all the action, all the pressure Wake can get. We know that. We saw the action and pressure that Quinn could get. This defensive scheme seems to like it better than what he'd been doing with the Rams the last few years. So now there's going to get a full 4 quarters of those guys coming around the edge. And then they're going to be thrown into those 5 guys we just mentioned, thrown into that secondary. What do you think? How do you think that all plays together, man? The defensive end's coming at Mariota, and then he's having to throw the ball against that awesome secondary. I like that matchup for the Dolphins. That's just me.
Okay. Well, okay, let's see. Let's take a look at their wide receiver core, shall we? All right. So Rashard Matthews looks like he's going to be one of the starters which is something that actually I'm a little. You know what? I almost feel this is. I'm actually going to go back to Carew for a minute. I'm almost wondering if they're keeping Carew around because he has like the Rishard Matthews underdog type of label on him. Is that this is the guy who works hard and does well, but never actually cracks the lineup, and then he winds up going elsewhere and doing well, Rishard Matthews type style. I hope that's not the case with Carew because I don't see that in Carew. I saw it in Matthews, but Matthews can play. Then you got Corey Davis. Let's see what else we got here. Delaney Walker.
You got Tajay Sharp. That's a guy that when he was first drafted, everybody was super excited about him. Really hasn't done a whole lot that I recall since then.
I'm worried about Delaney Walker.
Yeah, of course. Of course we are. We're always going to be worried about our tight ends. But when we go into a nickel, who's going to be matching up against that Delaney Walker perhaps a lot? Could be Minkah Fitzpatrick sometimes. I like that matchup a little better than Kiko.
Well, the problem with that is that if Minkah is taking care of Delaney Walker, then who's got Dion Lewis / Derrick Henry?
So it's really going to be about the time. So how quick can Wake and Quinn get to Mariota on a fairly consistent basis? Obviously, they're not going to get to him every time because that would be unusual. And how if he's having to throw the ball with less time, how real was what we saw in the preseason from Quinn? Is that something that's just going to disappear, or are we going to really see that? Because we haven't had something that ferocious on the other side of Wake ever. Because I don't even think Olivier Vernon ever looked that good, in my opinion, coming at the quarterback. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh no! I don't doubt for a second that Robert Quinn is going to be a really good pass rusher. We've seen enough from that. Cam Newton went down. We saw RG3 take a couple of hits. The thing that I'm worried about, remember, because I don't want to take credit away from Quinn, but Quinn wasn't exactly playing top level talent. I mean, even
he
when
wasn't.
He is
That's
healthy,
why I'm asking the question.
I think he's got it. It's not like he can only beat up on scrubs, but listen, if you're even a half decent tackle, you're not going to get whooped that easily all the time. So the worry though is that he's not going to be going up against these guys aren't going to be going up against half decent guys. Robert Quinn is more than likely going to be going up against Taylor Lewan, who's a pretty good offensive tackle last I checked. And they recently brought Jack Conklin off the PUP list, so that's for Cam Wake. And I would assume that if he's on the physically unable to perform list and he's just now getting off, maybe that means that his conditioning isn't all that. So Wake will probably have a few free passes. That's my hope on that. But the issue that I'm having with this is that it's not Tom Brady back there. This is Marcus Mariota. Mariota can take off and run anytime he wants. And it feels like every single quarterback we have faced this preseason has been one of those mobile, dangerous, I'm going to beat you with my legs type of quarterback. It was Ryan Fitzpatrick, which I can't believe he's actually a decent running quarterback. How many times has he done that already? And then you have it was Cam Newton, who can also take off and run whenever he feels like, and not that they really wanted him to in the preseason game, but he can do that too. I think he did do it, once. He took off and ran and beat us that way and got a big chunk of yards out of that. We saw what RG3 and Lamar Jackson did to us in the third game. I think the only game where it wasn't one of those situations was the fourth preseason game. And who knows, maybe that's even the reason we were able to win so well, is because we didn't have to worry about the concept of Kurt Bankert taking off and running. So that's something that I have to think about, is that how often do I have to worry about somebody trying to spy on Marcus Mariota? We can't just leave him back there and assume that everything will go well because he's not going to take off running. Mariota can move, and that's something that I am seriously concerned about.
Okay. All right. Well, so let's flip it to the other side. How do we like the matchup of our wide receivers? Tannehill, this is going to be his first real game in almost 2 years, going against they're Amendola, Wilson, Stills. I mean, when we go 3 wide, that's probably going to be the guys unless Parker's ready. And then when we go in that 2 tight end package, a lot of times during the preseason, they were using Jakeem Grant and Albert Wilson, because both those guys are really fast. So it would force the 2 cornerbacks to play off, play way off. And it just gave more potency to that 2 tight end, not just out of the pass, but out of the run too. So I like that matchup. I like to see us do more of that. But when we go 3 wide, which is going to be our base offense and what we're going to do most of the time, I think last year we did that more snaps than any other team in the NFL. So those 3 guys, Parker out, Wilson in. I mean, what do you think? How do you like that matchup?
Well, that matchup, the offense, I like matching up a lot better against the Titans because, I mean, other than Harold Landry, Derek Morgan, I think the only other name I can recognize really is Brian Arakpo. Maybe that's just because I'm not well-versed in the other team, but that's just me. I don't see a whole lot of players that are really going to cause huge issues for the Dolphins. So, I mean, Kenny Vaccaro is the strong safety, and that's Logan Ryan is the cornerback. And then you have, LaShawn Sims. No, Adoree Jackson. I guess that's a name I kind of recognize. Is he any good?
Not really sure. I follow the Dolphins. I don't pay a lot of attention to the Titans.
I guess that's my fault for not doing a better job scouting. Maybe I'll do a PhinManiacs Live and bring on somebody who can give us some Titans information.
There you go. Give us some Titans info. This I can tell you. Last year the Titans were 4th against the run and 25th against the pass. So now you envision they've probably tried to work on their pass defense. But so it seems coming in, on paper anyway, we'd have a little better shot of passing against them instead of running against them. But we do have Kenyon Drake, and Kenyon Drake is fairly dynamic. So I'm hoping that Adam Gase doesn't bail on the run too quickly, which we know he's known to do. And we still don't really know what the mix of Gore and Drake is really going to be. We truly don't have a good look at that yet. We have no idea. And the Titans have no idea either. But I'm hoping it's a whole lot more Drake than Gore. At least 2-1.
If Gase is smart and Loggins is smart. By the way, minor note, did you know that Dowell Loggins was calling plays in that fourth preseason game?
Yeah, and the offense really looked good. But I don't know, was that because they're planning on him doing it during the season, or why all of a sudden was he calling plays in the fourth game of preseason when he hadn't called the others?
I mean, I don't know if that's what, but you know what? I like the results of said decision, so maybe that's something we should think about. I know there are a lot. I'm sure that Tom Shannon who covers the Bears as well would probably say something like Loggins was really bad, but you know what? I can't argue with 34-7. It was the only game. I get it, but maybe just maybe we should let him give it another shot. Just maybe, because it seemed like the play calling was a little more less conservative when it was against the Falcons and he was doing it. Maybe that's because he wanted to show off. Maybe it was because he wanted to prove something. But you know what? I hope that regardless of who calls the plays, that we try to take a little more aggression. I've been saying from the very beginning that this offense is built to take what is given to you. And I still believe that. And I don't have a problem with it. But I would still like for them to at least let the defense know that if you slip, we will catch you. You know, that kind of a mentality, just to make them back up on their heels just a little bit more. Like the 5-yard slants and whatever. I mean, 2nd and 5, and then you get another 5, and that's fine. It moves the chains, and I'm good with that. But I would like for them to realize that these Dolphins can blow up on you any second. You just never know. And Kenyon Drake is probably the key to that, and I'm hoping that they're smart enough to realize that Drake should be on the field most of the time. And Gore, if anything, should just be the power running back, the guy who's a bruiser when you need like that 1-yard push, because that's not Drake's style.
Yeah, I agree. And one thing I'm going to say, though, and you could say this for most coaches, but I'm really going to state this for Gase specifically this season. Most teams are not giving away what they want to do during the season. Gase was really, really beyond not giving it away. I mean, this guy was playing. They never let Tannehill even throw to Gesicki. Dude, the dude wasn't even on the field in a red zone situation with Tannehill.
One pass that
was not in the red zone. I mean, when it came to the red zone, absolutely, Gase was not going to give away one little thing that he intended to do. Not a thing, including the way the personnel was going to line up, the packages, the plays, nothing, zero, zilch. Then he even throws it off by letting the offensive coordinator, call the plays before. I'm a Dolphins fan. I follow this team as closely as I can follow anything. I don't have a clue in this world what Gase is planning on doing week 1 against the Titans. I know, right? Which is great. I'm excited about that. I'm glad I don't know. I want to be surprised, and I hope the Titans are equally surprised. Because when I'm sitting in that seat, at almost the 50-yard line, I'm really excited about my game, about my tickets for week 1. And I'm sitting there, and I hope we can catch them off guard and catch them by surprise. Because last year they were a better team than we were.
I think this is what we have to prepare for mentally. You know what I think? I think that Gase is going to try so hard to outsmart everybody. Because remember, we play New England week 4. So, my guess is that if the Titans let us succeed with the same kind of play calling that we did in the preseason, because remember, they couldn't really stop us. No team could actually stop the offense unless the only thing, up.
Yeah, we were the ones that screwed up everything. Anytime it was always our mess up. No one ever stopped us. It was 3rd and 4th and they just stopped us or something. That never happened. It was always us doing it to ourselves.
Even that nightmare start against the Ravens, it was mostly the Dolphins screwing up than it was them actually stopping us.
Yeah, no doubt. So, which is also another exciting thing not exciting that we're stopping ourselves, but exciting that it felt like no one could stop us except for ourselves. Hope that continues throughout the season.
Yes, but this is my thing. I think we need to mentally prepare ourselves for more conservative play calling, because considering the fact that Belichick comes to town week 4, Gase is going to want to try to keep as much under wraps as possible so that he can get that first win off of Belichick to start the year. Just to say, aha, I got you.
I don't think so. I think he's going to unleash against the Titans. He's going to let it all hang out.
I don't know. That doesn't sound very Gase-like to me.
Yeah, it does to me, because he needs to get this win. The Dolphins need this win. I mean, every team needs a win.
But that's
the
what
Dolphins
I'm saying,
really need this win.
But this is what I'm saying. If the Titans let us get away with that conservative play calling, I don't see why Gase is going to just stop.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, if you can keep more plays in the grab bag and beat people with just straight up football. But here's the thing. One thing I know the Dolphins are not, they are not like a just line them up and play hardcore football. They are finesse. And that takes a special kind of play calling, a special kind of play design to have success that way, which makes me a little bit nervous about the Dolphins. But we're just not designed to just line up and pound, smash mouth football, just, 2 wide receivers. We're going to beat you because our guys are better than your guys. I don't feel that from Miami. So I don't think vanilla play calling gets it done for them. I mean, that'd be nice to be able to do vanilla play calling and get it done. I just don't see that happening with Miami. I don't think that's our team. That doesn't feel like Miami right now.
I don't know, man. I have this gut feeling that we need to prepare ourselves for a lot of 5-yard slants, inside corner routes, sort of short passes. I predict that 90% of my tweets when I do my play-by-play is going to be Tannehill short pass to so-and-so. That's what I'm saying right now. Either that or a run for Drake or Gore.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to find out. I'd like to see making sure that he doesn't dump the run game. I think that's very important. I think he's got to really stick to the run game and be able to do some different kind of run plays to make sure that the run has success. He can't just get away from it so quickly like he has in the past.
Yeah, especially if it's actually working.
Definitely, man, definitely. All right, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up? We've been going on just over an hour.
Well, first of all, I want to say that PhinManiacs Xtra, we wanted to be 45 minutes, half an hour. That's just not going to happen. We talk too much, so that's just I don't think that's ever going to happen.
We talk way too much. That's okay. You know what? If people want to turn it off after 30, 45 minutes, they can make it there at 30, 45 minutes. We'll just keep talking.
It's manual, guys. If you want it to end now, you just go click.
Yeah, just push the button, and there you go. 30-minute podcast done.
Ta-da.
Listen to the second half of the next day. 2 30-minute podcasts.
Right. Yeah, exactly. There you go. You split it up into 2s. It's like part 2 of our PhinManiacs Xtra. Okay.
Yeah, isn't our sound quality just awesome on this podcast?
I don't know. I heard a lot of crackling today, just because I typing.
You're not. No, I was never typing. You're not helping me at all here. Let's try that again. Isn't our sound quality amazing on this podcast?
I know, elite, 10 out of 10.
It is. You would think that some podcasts out there, some Dolphins podcasts where people have radio experience, they would have better sound quality. Wouldn't you think so, Lewis?
You're gonna tell me who you're taking a shot at.
I'm not taking a shot at anybody. I am just throwing it out there. You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah, okay, I'm just saying. Yeah. Anyway, if you're really looking for good sound quality, this is the show for you. If you're looking for good quality, I don't know, but sound quality at least.
Okay. I ain't taking a shot at me, brother. What are you saying? I'm not good quality enough for you.
No, I'm just messing around. I'm just having some fun with somebody that they'll probably never hear this, never know that I'm messing with them.
Which is probably why you'll tell them.
No, I won't tell them. I don't like them. But anyway, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
I mean, nothing other than it's really good to be able to do regular season talk again, and I can't wait for everything to actually get serious. I can't wait to watch the starting offense for 4 quarters instead of 2 drives or 1 half or anything like that. I mean, if you really think about it, I understand that it was against backups, but technically speaking, that starting offense left the field with the lead. So, and then only after the team left the field did everything fall apart. So I think that there's plenty of potential. There's plenty of untapped ability to compete. There are some things I will question, and I will probably continue to be frustrated by this roster musical chairs going on over the next few days because
it's not done yet.
I guarantee you. Maurice Smith got the boot to bring back Sam Young, and by the way, Maurice Smith belongs on a 53-man roster somewhere. Heck, I would even start him at this point just because that's how much he's developing at this so quickly. But if by some miracle Smith clears waivers, then he better wind up on the practice squad quick because somebody will snag him fast. He's really good. So
yeah, they're taking a chance with this whole 4 quarterbacks thing, in my opinion. But let's see what they do, man. All right, well, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say that I read an article today that it was Hall of Fame GM Ron Wolf who basically said that you want to have a lot of quarterbacks on your roster so you can have that guy who may or may not become the next Matt Hasselbeck or something along those lines, because Ron Wolf was shocked about how many teams were only taking 2 quarterbacks nowadays. I'm like, I'm not shocked at that at all, because once you have one quarterback that works, you kind of need every other roster spot you can get. But I guess the mentality is that the more quarterbacks you have on the roster, the more of a chance that you have somebody's going to turn into a superstar. I don't know, but I just feel like that would work if everybody was a young developing rookie, not a Brock Osweiler. But that's just me.
I think I believe in Gase's ability to take quarterbacks who have talent and make them play better. I still question whether Gase is a develop a quarterback from the ground up guy. I don't know that he is. I think he can take.
Seen him do that yet.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen him do it yet. He's taken quarterbacks. He's taken their talent to the next level, regardless of their talent. Because even Peyton Manning never played better than he played in a Gase offense, and that's a fact. And it was Peyton freaking Manning. Tebow somehow he managed to find an offense that worked with Tebow, and that's fantastic. And Jay Cutler had one of his better years in Chicago. And Tannehill definitely had his best year. I mean, it cannot be denied that quarterbacks with some talent play better with Gase, right? It can't be denied, but it is yet to be seen that he can take a quarterback from the ground up and develop him. I don't know that he has that, so we'll see. So I'm not excited about a bunch of young guys sitting there for Gase to develop, because I don't know that he can develop them.
Are you saying Tim Tebow had talent?
Yeah, he had some talent. Yeah, he lacked a lot of things, but or put it to you this way, Gase found a way to make him successful. Doesn't mean he made him a better quarterback, though. That's what I'm saying. But he did make Manning, or at least found an offense that was more successful than Manning had ever seen, even in Indianapolis, which is amazing. And like I said, definitely Tannehill's best year, 2016. The only year he played with Gase. That can't be denied. And I'd say Jay Cutler's probably best, one of his better years, more consistent years, was when he played with Gase.
In the Bears offense.
Yeah, so we've seen him. I'd say we've seen him do that with 3 or 4 quarterbacks. So I believe that is definitely something that he has. In that case, he's a quarterback whisperer. But he is not, to me, I don't know that he can take some dude, a rookie guy, and he can take Luke Falk or he can take David Fales and make him into a viable starting quarterback. I'm not sure. We haven't ever seen him do it before.
Well, with Luke Falk, if he sticks around, there's your shot.
Yeah, I know. But My point to that is I don't love wasting the roster spot on a developmental quarterback that I don't know Gase can develop. I'd rather his time and energy be spent on developing Tannehill to be better, because we know he can take that kind of quarterback with talent and make him better, and use that spot somewhere else.
I would agree.
Okay, I'm just throw it out there, linebacker. Okay, no more linebacker talk.
Okay, there's no. Okay, before now, I have one last comment. Ron, is there anybody out there that you would even consider looking at
for cornerback, for linebacker?
For linebacker,
man,
right now.
I would need to go through and see. I had not gone through the who's out there, who was unclaimed, and who's a free agent. I just know, they're sticking with what they got. So what else can I do? I just gotta hope it works. Hope for my sake as a Dolphins fan that they're right and I'm wrong.
All right, well, I guess that's where we'll end it then.
All right, man. All right, thanks everybody for listening. I appreciate it. If you want to find Lewis on Twitter, what's your Twitter, Lewis?
At Lewis D. Sung.
Yeah. Isn't the sound quality great, man? Don't you
yes,
love?
Sound quality
fantastic.
Is wonderful.
Okay. Everybody's gonna be hitting me up. What do you mean about the sound? What's going on? As for me on Twitter, I'm at Finn's Broadcaster. You can listen to this show however you're listening now. That's how you can listen to the show. Okay. You can find it on iTunes, on Stitcher, probably Podbean, I would think by now.
Is it going on Podbean too? Did you make it so it does that?
Do I have to go do we have to go make it be, or does it probably already by now, because the feed's been there for a while? I
mean, it goes up on SoundCloud and it goes up on iTunes and Stitcher that way. I don't know if Podbean is one of them. I've never checked. I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it's on Google Play, because I think because that's the Android one. I think they pick up from some of those. So, all right, guys, appreciate you listening, and everybody have a great week. Leading towards the Dolphins Week 1 matchup against Tennessee. So we'll get back after that game and have another episode. Thanks a lot. Fins up, everybody.
Fins up.